the man in the crawl space. I never thought I'd be the type of person to post a story like this. I mean, I always rolled my eyes when people talked about feeling like they were being watched. I figured they were just paranoid or trying to scare themselves for fun. But now, I get it. I get it in the worst way possible. It started with noises. Nothing dramatic at first, just scratching sounds coming from the vents. I had just moved into my first off-campus apartment, and I was enjoying the quiet, the freedom. I told myself it was the pipes or maybe rats. It was an old building. Nothing to freak out about, right? But then it got weirder. Some nights I'd be lying in bed and I swear I could hear breathing, like really faint, but just enough to make the hair on my arms stand up. I'd sit up, hold my breath, try to hear it again, but nothing. Silence. I figured it was just my mind playing tricks on me. Then one night, I was watching TV, and I noticed something off. The air vent in the living room, just above the couch, was open. Not wide open, but just slightly, like someone had tried to close it, but didn't push it all the way shut. I stared at it for a long time. My stomach was tight, like my body knew something my brain hadn't caught up to yet. I told myself I was being ridiculous, but I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight anyway. I took a deep breath, stood on the couch, and aimed the light inside the vent. And that's when I saw them. Two eyes, unblinking, staring right at me. I didn't scream. I couldn't. I just felt this wave of ice rush through my body. And then the eyes disappeared. Fast. Like whoever or whatever was in there had jerked back into the darkness. I ran. I didn't even stop to grab my keys or put on shoes. I just ran out of my apartment and straight to the neighbors, pounding on their door until they let me in. I called the cops, and when they showed up, I was shaking so bad I could barely talk. They searched my place, checked the vents. Nothing. I started second-guessing myself. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe the shadows played tricks on me. I was so close to convincing myself I was just being paranoid when one of the officers called me over. They had found a crawl space, one I didn't even know existed, hidden behind a loose panel in the hallway closet. And inside, there he was, a man, thin, filthy. His clothes were tattered, his nails long and yellow. He reeked of sweat and something worse. He didn't even look surprised to see the cops, just kind of disappointed, like he knew the game was over. And then they found his little collection, my stuff, my hairbrush, some socks, a few of my photos I never even knew had been taken, photos of me sleeping. He had been living there watching me for weeks. I still can't sleep without checking the vents. Every night, every single night. Because now I know, sometimes the noises in your house, they're not just the pipes, and sometimes you're not as alone as you think. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content. Please share with family and friends. The Midnight Visitor, you ever get that feeling? Like you're being watched? Like someone's out there, just standing in the dark, waiting? I used to think that was just something people said to scare themselves. You know, like one of those irrational fears. But after that night, I don't think it's irrational at all. I was home alone that night. My parents had gone out for some anniversary dinner, and I had the whole house to myself. Just me, my phone, and some leftover pizza. Nothing weird, nothing out of the ordinary. At least not yet. Then, just after midnight, I heard it. Knocking at the door. Not normal knocking. Not the kind where you can tell it's a friend or a delivery guy. This was slow, too slow, like whoever was on the other side wasn't in a hurry at all. Just knocking, waiting, knocking again. I got up real quiet and went to the peephole, and that's when I saw him. A man, just standing there dressed all in black, hood pulled up, head tilted down just enough that I couldn't see his face. I didn't move, didn't breathe. My brain was screaming at me to do something, say something, but I just stood there staring. He didn't knock again. He just stood there. Then the knocking turned into pounding. It was violent, shaking the door, like he was trying to break in. I backed away, heart pounding, legs feeling like jelly. I reached for my phone to call my parents, but just as I picked it up, my screen lit up. A text message. "Why won't you let me in?" I nearly dropped my phone. My stomach flipped. I hadn't given my number to anyone. I sure as hell hadn't given it to some guy knocking on my door in the middle of the night. I turned off all the lights. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely breathe. I grabbed the baseball bat from my closet and just hid. I crouched down, barely even daring to move. Then I heard it. He was whispering. I couldn't make out the words, but I knew he was talking. To me, just on the other side of the door. I stayed there. Minutes felt like hours. The knocking stopped. The whispering stopped. Then silence. After what felt like forever, I finally got up, the nerve, to move. I tiptoed back to the peephole. My heart was in my throat. He was gone, or so I thought. The night dragged on. I barely slept. I waited for my parents to come home, but the whole time I couldn't shake the feeling. Like I wasn't alone, like something was still out there. The next morning I checked the security cameras. I needed to know. Needed to see him walk away. To prove to myself that it was over. But he never left. The footage showed him standing outside my house, just watching. He never walked away, never ran. He just crouched down, right in front of the door, and he stayed there. For hours, watching, waiting. I don't know when he finally left. I don't know if he ever really did. But what I do know is that ever since that night, I've kept my door double locked, and I never ever open the door after midnight. Be careful, you never know who's visiting you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content. Please share with family and friends.